Edmonton city, and numbers are going up crazy. So again, it's very important that we have to do our best at the end of the day by protecting our health, by caring our loved ones at the end of the day, because it's really important that we do everything that we can. So everything you need to know about COVID-19 in Alberta on Thursday, November the 26th. Um, so today there are 355 people in hospital, 71 in ICU. Alberta Health plans to make available more than 2,000 acute care beds and up to 400 ICU beds for patients with COVID-19 across the province in the coming weeks. Alberta's moving to online learning for students has received some mixed reviews from advocacy groups and school divisions. 11 staff at Forefront Banff Spring Hotel have tested positive for the virus, while another 5 have recovered. So cases were the result of transmission in community and staff housing, but not occur within the hotel. The town of Banff declared a local state of emergency on Wednesday night. AHS number indicated 153 active cases in Banff National Park region as Wednesday plan are in the work to set up new testing faculty in the mountain town. So I'm going to tell you the numbers that we have today. So affected Wednesday, AHS has changed vision rules to acute hospital outbreak and community that under adherence the changes are for patients to admit hospital and in ambulatory care including emergency. So we're going to be talking about Alberta's cases. First of all, I want to be reading this because it's very important that everybody knows what's happening. So since hospital numbers are key, let's start with those. On October the 28th, 130 people were in hospital due to COVID-19, including 8 intensive care beds. On Wednesday, 355 people were in hospital due to COVID, including 71 in ICU. Next to can look at the cases numbers. On October the 28th, the province reported 477 new cases and a total of 4,921 active cases. On Wednesday, 1,265 new cases were identified and we had a total of 13,719 active cases. A regional breakdown of active cases numbers looks like this. On October the 28th, Calgary zone has 1,879 active cases. Wednesday, Calgary zone has 5,028 active cases. On October the 28th, Edmonton zone had 2,277 active cases. Wednesday, 6,280 and 268 active cases. On October the 28th, South Zone has 256 active cases. Wednesday, South Zone had 656 active cases. On October the 28th, North Zone has 325 active cases. Wednesday, North Zone had 805 active cases. October the 28th, Central Zone has 162 active cases. Wednesday, Central Zone had 876 active cases. On October the 28th, Unknown Zone had 22 active cases. Wednesday, Unknown Zone had 86 active cases. Then they're looking at the testing. October the 28th, Provincial Lab completed 12,153 tests and positivity rate was about 4%. On Wednesday, Provincial Labs completed 15,644 tests and positivity rate was 8.1%. What about continuing care centers, where many of the most vulnerable people live? On October the 28th, there were 322 active cases and 1,350 recovered cases at continuing care faculty by that point 193 residents of those faculties had died. That's huge number when we see it. On Wednesday, there were 522 active and 2,559 recovered cases at continuing care faculty. By that point, 314 residents of those faculties had died. And finally, the schools. On October the 28th, about 10% of schools had outbreak or were on alert, with a total of 730 confirmed cases in those schools. By Wednesday, above 15% of schools had outbreak or were on alert, with a total of 1,207 confirmed cases in those schools. By October the 28th, in-school transmission had occurred in 87 schools. Of those, 48 had only one new case as a result. By Wednesday, in-school transmission had occurred in 194 schools. Of those, 105 had only one new case as a result. On October the 28th, the provincial death total stood at 323. By Wednesday, the provincial death total had reached 500. So you can see the rise of those numbers are increasing either by death total or by COVID numbers that are people getting. People are dying like crazy in Alberta every single day, and we can see it every day that these numbers are not changing and they're going way up as we expected. So at the end of the day, we have to do what's right by protecting our loved ones and making sure that we don't make sure that we don't make people sick in any way, because that's what matters at the end of the day. Um, um, so um, moving on to COVID-19, it's very important that every day people do their best as much as you can, protecting your health, caring about the loved ones. That's what's really important, because every day there's new results, there's new numbers that we have to deal with, and we have to make sure that we have to take care of those people as much as we can, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what we do. Health and priority of the people, health and safety of the people is more important than anything, right? So that's what's really important, and hopefully people understand what I'm talking about. Not hopefully people know exactly what I'm talking about, because we don't care about people's health and safety is a big problem. So hopefully that really makes sense to all of you guys at the end of the day, and hopefully you guys do your best as much as you can. I don't want anybody to joke around with their health in any way, right? Because your health at the end of the day, it matters as much as you can. So look, a lot of people can make their health work or not work, but we have to do our best at the end of the day as much as we can, and making sure that the health and the safety of the people is more important, and that's what matters, because some people don't know what's priority and what's not priority at all. And if we do not know what's a priority, is a big problem. So hopefully that really makes sense to all of you guys. Hopefully you guys do your best and making sure that everything goes really well. So it's very important that you follow the health rules, because if you don't have followed the health rules, please, the government, what they announced on Friday, or what they announced a couple of days ago, it's not really a strict rules that we heard from the government at all, right? The government of Alberta. So we will see in the coming weeks what they say and what's their plan. But until then, it's very important that they do their best as much as they can, right? You have to make sure that the COVID doesn't attack you in any way as much as you can. That's the agenda here, and that's the message that we all need to understand, because if we care about people's health at the end of the day, that's what really matters. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what the position will be or what you want to face. What matters is that your health, and taking your health very seriously in every way. That's what's really important, and I'm expecting everybody to do that as much as they can, right? Today I did say I'll announce new restrictions for my school. So according to the government, they said until January 11th they're gonna be doing lockdown. I'm gonna make it into further lockdown until February or even March until we get the actual vaccine and until the numbers go down, because until now we didn't see the numbers going down. So until the numbers go down, I'm gonna make it efficient that we're gonna be doing a lockdown until that time. Until the numbers go down, we will see, but it's very important that health and safety of the people is more important. I care about more about health and safety of the people than the premier does, because the premier, he just cares about his business at the end of the day, and that's what he sees more important, and that's what he gets more important of that, saying that health and safety of the people, he sees it as his business is more important than that, right? Because I don't understand why bars have to be open and casinos have to be open and things that should not even be open. I don't even know why they have to be open. These things automatically we should know that they should not be open in any way, in any form. And he decided to leave those things open and make it a priority and let people get sick and people not getting well. And I don't see what that when the government does that they're benefiting anything from that problem. They're not actually benefiting in anything. So it's very important that I have to take the right step too and making sure that we're gonna go until February for my school. I don't care about the other schools that they open in January, but my school we're gonna be opening maybe by mid-February or even March until we see the numbers go on. I do not care if there's vaccine or no vaccine. It has to be safe enough for me to open again. Because as long as this is a vaccine and still the numbers are super high, that's not gonna make me open the place, or is it? So that's something we're gonna be open. We have to open it slowly until uh, until um, until you have until the thing that's gonna be open, right? It's very important. It's very important also to make sure, because Monday schools are gonna be closing, so make sure that if you don't have a computer, you don't have a, a device, you don't have a laptop, you don't have a phone, you make sure that you come here and making sure that you come and pick them up. And if you're gonna come here, you have to wear a mask. I'm not taking 10 people at one time. It's gonna be one person at a time to come and take a computer or a laptop. But I'm hoping that everybody has a laptop and a computer and a working device, so we don't have nobody can be getting sick here, nobody has to have COVID, and nobody has to be not being well, because it's not even safe. If you have your own device, it's better, so you don't have to come to the school and make everybody affected and everybody having to be sick. So that's what I suggest to do. If you don't have a device, then you have to come here and pick up the device. You have until tomorrow to come. If you don't come tomorrow, you're not going to be able to come next week. Next week schools are closed, so you have to make it an emergency. Actually it's closed today, it's closed tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to start closing the school. I'm not going to even wait till Monday even. I'm going to close a day early because it's emergency update, emergency, and this is our health is at risk now, and it's very important that thing. So I'm putting in a state of emergency for my school starting Friday, November the 27th, 2020. So if you're planning actually to come and pick up the computer, you have to make it today time. I don't know, around maybe 4:30 or I don't know when I'm gonna. Maybe I'll mail it to you and deliver it to you, and you can come and get it, because I don't think anybody's willing to come after school and coming here with a mask, right? And I can't guarantee um, that can't be complete could guarantee my school will be open. So I will mail it to you and I'll mail the computer or whatever device that you need that you're going to be using. But I'm expecting majority of my class should have a computer. Not every single student is going to tell me I don't have a device. That's not productive. You can't do your device on the phone. The phone is not acceptable for a device, because when you're doing an assignment or you're doing your homework, uh, it will crash on you. So you need an actual device to work on and to do the work on, so I can see what work you're doing, what effort you're doing, and I can see that. Because if you have so many windows and you have a camera on, sometimes the camera might not work because you have so much window, you have so many. It happens to me sometimes. So for you guys, it's very important that you do have a computer, you have something that you can use as much as you can. So that's very important. Also, I want to say that I updated a Google Write, Google Docs. So when you're doing your homework, when you're doing things, there's now Google Write. So that Google Write, you can use it on Google Docs, and update it for you so it can read it for you, especially for your diploma in January. We can do that. I can make it into a Google Write and a Google Docs where you can make a reader can read it for you, the diploma and how the diploma will be working out. So that's something also that the Google Write it will be helping you in such a way and making it, it's going to be helpful in every way. So if you don't want to read the whole thing, you want to listen instead of me reading it to you, you have a core right that will be reading it for you and making sure that well the thing that you're reading, if it doesn't help, then if you want to read it on your own too, that's an optional. But there's Google Write now, so in Google Docs, before you guys didn't have Google Write, so that will be for homework, for any message I'm gonna be sending, it will read it for you. So that's something I put down for Google Doc, so you have that already in your Google Docs. So you make sure that you use the Google Write and making sure that you use it, and making sure that you take care of it as much as you can. Hopefully that really makes sense to everybody that like I said, we are in a state of emergency, and I'm calling on the school to shut down tomorrow on Friday, November the 27th, 2020, because whatever, if you need a Chromebook, you need any kind of device, it's very important that you make the time to get that device. So now we're going to be moving on to today's lesson, and I'm going to be reading today's lesson and what you need to do for today's lesson. So today we're going to have our lesson that we have to do. So um, the assignment, I don't need the assignment, I want the lesson. So today we're going to be doing the lesson for this assignment, and we will go through it so we make sure that you guys really understand what I'm talking about when I'm doing this assignment. So we will go through it right now. So lesson one, we're going to be going through looking back. So that's the title. It's going to be talking about looking back. So that's something that we are planning to talk about today, and that's what's really important, right? Um, so so I'm going to read the first paragraph so everybody can understand. We have a Google right here, so you guys can use that when you are reading the section 4 and unit 4. Also, your unit exam, I pushed it to Tuesday, December the 1st, 2020, so you have your unit exam that day. So make sure that you make the time to study so you have that opportunity to be ready for Tuesday's exam. So lesson one, looking back. Have you have you had some experience that you will remember for the rest of your life? You may have experienced something so significant that it became a turning point if in your life, causing you to change the way you think or act. Your memories of the past experience will accompany your thoughts, your life, and they'll contribute insight and emotions to your future experience. So in this lesson, you will read several poems related to the theme of the memories and memorable experience. The first poem you will read is by Canadian poet Elizabeth Brewster. Before you read it, think about the title. Where I come from, where do you come from? How does where you lived influence you? Now read the poem. Do you agree with Elizabeth's statement that people are made place? What images, smell, or sound are meaningful to you? Poets use imaginary to help the readers to imagine what they are describing. Imaginary is a descriptive language. It can enable you to visualize something, but it can also appeal you to your sense of smell, hearing, taste, or touch. Imaginary can also appeal to the sense of emotions. So the first one we will talk about in this poem, use contrasting imaginary to emphasize the difference between the city and the country. So the first one, quote 5 examples of imaginary that Brewster associates with cities. Now quote 5 examples of imaginary that Brewster recalls from her rural past. And number 2, what is the Brewster's strongest memory of where she comes from? So it's very important that you guys make sure that you answer uh, those two questions as much as you can and making sure that it's in complete sentence. And then you're going to compare your response. Many poets are as concerned with the sound of their poetry as they are with its theme, tone, and imaginary, although where I come from doesn't contain. So that's part of that too. And then we will move on to lesson 2. So lesson 2 is talking about native voices. So Canada is a country with a diversity of ethnic groups and culture uh, customs. As a result, Canadians speak in many voices reflecting their different backgrounds and experience. These voices include the Aboriginal groups who lived here long before Europeans discovered the New World. In this lesson you will look at three poems written by Aboriginal people. Begin by reading "The Spring of Youth" on page 264 in the Between the Lines 12. So it's very important that you guys read that too and making sure that you understand when you're reading. The imaginary in this poem appeals to many of your senses. In your notebook or on your computer, construct a charter to identify as many images as you can that appeal to your sense of sight, sound, smell, and touch. Think about the title of the poem, then reread the last stanza. Why does the poet associate spring with youth? So that's something that's very important, and maybe that's something you guys need to think about. Why is the author associates something with something else? And that's gonna make your mind through reading to make sure that you understand what the poet is talking about and what the rhythm is about. How does imaginary in this poem help you visualize the old women? So you're gonna have to give me an example about that too. So for each of the following two examples of figurative language, identify the figurative of speech and what things are being compared. So number one, tears thunder down her wrinkled face. She knows it like the creases in her wrinkled bent fingers. Number five, people often respond emotionally to others' disregard of something they value. Number one, what is the old woman fear about the younger generation? Number two, if you could talk with this old woman about her fear, what would you tell her? Compare your response. The final poem that you will read in this lesson is Grandfather by Noah C. Austin. Before you read this poem, do the following journey entry at least. Read the question in the journal prompt. Reading this question will help you prepare to the reading the poem, but you may wish to further explore your memories and what they mean to you by reading in your journal. So it's very important you go back. What memories do you have of your grandparents or older relatives? What images comes to your mind when you think of them? Do you associate them with particular events? Are these memories pleasant? If some of your grandparents have died, what would you say to them if you could speak to them today? So now read Noah Austin poem on page 374 in Between the Lines 12. Number 6, what memories does the speaker have of his grandfather? Number 7, in this poem the speaker talks on behalf of all grandchildren. How has the grandfather influenced his grandchildren? Number 8, how would you describe the speaker's tone in this poem? In what ways has a relative or friend strongly influence you? Think about the effect that this person has had in your life. Then write a poem honoring this. Okay, that was lesson 2. We didn't go to lesson 3 yet, did we? Lesson 3, the power of love. So lesson 3 is just talking about the power and the love of it. So make sure that you're paying attention to these things. So lesson 3, the power of love. I'm loving. Have have you ever said or thought these words when you think about love? Do you think of romantic dinners, flowers, or love letters. Perhaps you associate love with poetry or music. After all, thousands of poems and songs have been written about the power of love, the pain of unrequited love, love is that isn't returned, or the end of a relationship. What song related to this topic can you think? Read the following lyrics in the same way you would read any other work of poetry. So I'm not going to bother reading the lyrics, but um, we'll move on. Number one of the reasons that song lyrics are appealing is that they often contain sound devices such as rhyme, rhythm, and repeating words or phrases. What example of deliberate repeating can you see in these song lyrics? As in the poetry, recognizing the tone in the poem about love is important. Can you identify the tone used in each of the statement in the following activity? You are now about to read one of the most famous love poems written in the English language about Elizabeth Bennet Browning wrote in this sonnet in 1845. It was one in a series of love sonnet exchange between Elizabeth and poet Robert Browning, who were married in 1846. Think about the poet tone as you read the sonnet. So you always have to think about that. Um, Number two, what is Barry Browning's purpose in writing this sonnet? What tone does she use to convey her message? Number three, to express their emotions, people sometimes find it easier to quote lines written by others rather than express their feelings in their own words. If you wanted to express your love for someone, which lines from this poem would you quote? And then compare your response. One's characters of a sonnet is that it has a regular rhythm. Poet who wants to create regular rhythm arrange the words in the line so that the stressed and unstressed syllables form a pattern. If you count the number of syllables in each line of sonnet, you will see that most lines have 10 syllables, of which 5 are stressed. The rhythm used to sonnet is lambic and unstressed syllables followed by a stressed one. Thought you will find the occasional exceptions even in the poems with regular rhythm. In the following 4 lines, the stressed syllables are in bold text. So please read that too and making sure that you understand when you're doing the homework. Then lesson 4, comparing and contrasting. In this lesson, you will bring together your understanding of a poetry by examining the similarities and differences of two poems. The poems you will be looking at are To a Daughter Living Home by Linda Paston and by Departure by Glenn Carnold. Before you read these poems, think about how you feel when you leave home, or perhaps how you felt if you already left your home. Now turn to page 234 and 247 in between the lines 12 and read the two poems. So number 1, Linda Paston poem is about a parent teaching an 8-year-old child to ride a bike. Why do you think that Paston titled the poem To a Daughter Living Home? Number 2, what type of relationship do the speaker in Departure have with his parents? Number 3, copy this compressed charter into your notebook or onto your computer, then complete the charter by analyzing the characteristics of the two poems. Number 1, study the information in your chart. What are the greatest similarities between these poems? Number 2, what are the most noticeable difference between the poems? When you comparing two literacy texts, brainstorm a list of things you will look for. Next, analyze each text carefully. Then think about their similarities and differences. Thinking about language. When you're writing about poetry or other literacy texts, you will often want to support your ideas by quoting words or phrases from the text. Incorporating quotation is one way of providing evidence for your argument. Generally, when you're quoting from a literacy text, you should observe three rules. Be sure to quote the word exactly as the author has written them. If you want to leave some words out, use an ellipse. If you need to insert your own words to clarify the quotation, use brackets around your words. 2. Place quotation marks around words that you're copying. 3. Indicate the source of the quotation, for example, the author's name and the title of the text, either in your own words before the quotation or in the note after the quotation. So make sure that you have all these. Make sure you have a bracket. Make sure you write them the way the author is writing it, and making sure that you have good example when you're writing this. Don't just write anything. Make sure that you have those, or you're gonna lose marks if you don't follow these procedures. In some cases, you will want to incorporate a word or two from a poem into your own sentence. Here is an example of these type of quotation. The speaker in Robert Burns' poem "A Red, Red Rose" compares his love to a sweetly played melody. At times you may want to integrate a longer quotation into your sentence, as in the following example. The speaker assures his love that he will love her until the rock melt we the sun. When you want to include a quotation longer than a line, it's usually best to introduce the quotation with a complete sentence. Notice in the following example that a colon is used at the end of the introductory sentence and an oblique mark is used to indicate the end of the poetic line. And in the conclusion, this section has focused on poetry and its power to express emotions and stimulate imagination. You compare poems that address the same subject, and you saw how poets use imaginary and figurative language to convey their ideas. You also learned to recognize a variety of sound devices such as rhyme, rhythm, alliteration, repetition, and automatopoeia. Many people feel intimidated by poetry because they can't always understand it easily, but poems shouldn't be regarded as puzzles to be solved. Instead, they should be thought of as pathway leading you to new insights into the world and the people in it. Ensure that you have submitted your section 4 assignment, including your audio recording illustration for this assessment. So hopefully you guys understood your assignment for today. So make sure that you get it done as soon as possible because it's due today again at 4:30 p.m. Mountain time. So make sure that you get it done by that time and making sure that you hand it on time because it's very important that you hand in your assignment on time. It counts really high, giving high mark on it. So you need to really make sure that you're serious about your mark and making sure that you really want to get good mark. You have to put the time and you have to put the willing on it. I noticed that some people did not do their quiz. We have a unit exam that's going to be coming on Tuesday, so I'm giving you guys a day tomorrow to review any assignment or assessment. Tomorrow will be a day to review, so hopefully use tomorrow really productively and use it in a way that you have that time and you have that time to study as much as you can, so you're prepared. Also make sure that if you don't have a computer, you don't have an actual device for this course, you have to make sure that you come here to the school and making sure that you pick up the laptop or pick up a computer so you have for the rest of the remaining course you have something to use and something that you can be using for this course. So if you're just using your phone, that won't be good enough. You need actual computer. So you just have today to come. If you're not able to come today, then I will deliver it to you. Hopefully it will come by next week, and it will take time for that computer to come. You have to make sure that you return it when you're done in January or in March, because this course ends in March. So when you're done in March, you make sure that you return it, and you make sure that you make the time to return it and you bring it back here as much as you can. Um, but if you can't come today, then you have to let me know in advance time that that I can deliver it for you, so you have the opportunity to come and pick it. You can't come tomorrow. Tomorrow the school will be closed, so you're not gonna be able to come here and pick up the computer. I'm closing it a day early before the government already started decided to close it next week. But I'm closing a day early because this is an emergency. This shouldn't be something that you're gonna make it right away obligatory. It needs to be shut down immediately. That's what it needs to do, and I'm shutting this place immediately. Even myself not included anymore in this room tomorrow. So so this is safety, and this is safety reasons. Like I said, it will go until February. So I'm saying this lockdown it will remain until February or March, until I see the numbers are 10 or 5. If we see the numbers going 5 or 10, then we can open it again. But if we are in the 98 and 78, not good enough to open the school for me. The government can open all they want. My area, I'm not gonna be able to open it until I see it safe enough for the health of the safety of the people. Because at the end of the day, the people are responsible for the government is responsible for us. I'm responsible for you guys as a teacher. So people's health and safety really matters at the end of the day, and just because the government didn't do anything about it from the beginning, that does not mean what they're doing is the right thing also doing. It's not right. It's actually putting us down in any way and putting us in a sinkhole in a way that's really in a bad productive. We should be really embarrassed because the whole country is looking at us now, and at the same time, uh, there's nowhere in Canada has high cases than Alberta has. So Alberta has the more cases than any other provinces has in Canada. So again, at the end of the day, it's very important that we have to protect ourselves as much as we can, and making sure that we wear the mask and we take mask mandatory, right? Um, and like I said, you don't need to go out if you do not need to go out. Stay home as much as you can. Your health is at risk now. If you go outside, you don't know if you're gonna come home with COVID. So we are outside. We are in danger. We're supposed to even be in a lockdown now, not doing few restrictions and closing certain restrictions. And those restrictions that the government announced on Tuesday, those restrictions were not strong restrictions that we heard from the government, and we all know that those restrictions were not enough because only the schools are the only thing that we got out of this whole thing. That's the only thing I can say serious about that the government did. But other than schools, we have still bars open. We still have worship places open. We still have cafeteria open. We still have museums open. We have libraries open. We have theaters open. All these places are open. And then at the end, if the numbers don't go down, we shouldn't be surprised. We shouldn't think school's just gonna make the numbers go down. If we think that way, we're never gonna get rid of COVID because that's not the way how we're gonna do it. Like I said, for us to get the vaccine is gonna come in March, right? It's not gonna come in January um, because a lot of the whole world's gonna get it starting January 20th, 2021. There's some countries are already gonna be getting the vaccine. By the time it comes for us, we're gonna be in March by that time, or maybe even April. For us to come to Alberta, that's another story. It might come maybe by April, or it might even come by May, or even by June by the latest, because it needs to be distributed across the provinces too. By it to come to this province, we don't even know when it's gonna come to this province, because first it has to go to Ontario, has to go to Quebec, all these other provinces first, right, before it comes to us. And that's why I'm saying at the end of the day, our government did a good job by signing up with Moderna and Oxford vaccine. Now we have two vaccines that are ready, and they're gonna come. But like I said, for it to come to Alberta, that's another story. For it to come to Canada, we don't even know how long it's gonna take. Our Prime Minister said either earlier by March we might receive it to Canada. So that means by the time it comes to Alberta, it might even be in April or even by May, maybe by that time. So that's not something I can answer. This is a government question to answer. It's not me to answer. So Everybody needs to know that these vaccines are very important. And like I said, vaccine itself is not going to solve the problem. If we do not protect ourselves, everybody's just waiting for the vaccine, thinking the vaccine is going to be that great that's going to solve the problem, right? Vaccines like cold flu medication. You take it, some people are going to die from it, and some people are going to live from it. There's totally different kind of view of people here. So all it matters at the end of the day is people are going to die because of the vaccine, and there's people that are going to live from the vaccine. So the vaccine is not going to help if we have huge numbers like what we have now. We need to reduce that numbers, and how we reduce that numbers is we close the whole city. Calgary already yesterday they called a local state of emergency. That's what Calgary did, and also Banff also called a local state of emergency. That means those two mayors of the from Alberta, they called a state of emergency for those two cities. Our mayor did not do that, and I'm surprised because Don Iveson, he's a mayor that he cares about people's safety, people's health, and I thought he's gonna be doing a lockdown, but maybe he's okay with what Jason Kenney's restrictions are. Not everybody's okay with what Jason Kenney said and what his restrictions are because it's not solid enough, it's not good enough, right? And we saw that it's not good enough restrictions, is not strong enough, and is not good. And he said already after 3 weeks, if the numbers keep rising, then I will do more restrictions on that. And I don't know what those restrictions are. And I know in those 3 weeks things are going to get worse because schools is not the problem here. School is part of the problem. It is. I agree. The school is part of the problem. But we have way worse problems than schools here. We have bars, we have casinos, and those areas are still open and they're still a problem. So, like I said, people dying every day now. And back in March, we had like 323 cases, people that died for death toll. Our death toll now is in the thousands for Alberta, and that's just scary when you look at the chart and the COVID cases numbers are increasing when it comes to death toll. When we were doing in March, our cases and our death toll were way better than what we're seeing now. Now, everyday people dying, whether you're old, whether you're young, and I already read the chart, right? And testing, not a lot of people are doing testing when I read the chart. Few people are doing testing, and testing is very important because if you don't test, you don't know if you're positive, you don't know if you're negative, and it's very important. If you have any kind of symptoms, this is where you need to go and get tested. Um, Testing is really important to know if you were somebody who had COVID or somebody who did not have COVID. And a lot of people in our province did not do that. They did not go and call 811 health link or all that. You can call that number if you have any kind of COVID or any kind of symptoms that you have, you need to do. So see, people are not doing enough symptoms. People are not doing all that stuff. Of course, the numbers are going to be high because and then now doctors are complaining too, I heard, and they plan to close the whole hospital and the whole places. There's enough already. Like the doctors and the hospitals, they are getting cuts now because of the government, because of the what Jason Kenney government did. They already have cuts. They don't have no budget. They have no money. There's more people that are sick now, but they're gonna have to close the hospitals because they're gonna have more than maybe 1,000 people coming to hospital that have COVID, and there's no lockdown, there's nothing. They're gonna be forced to close the hospital, and then people who are sick, they can't go anywhere. Again, that's under our provincial government's problem and issues here. So again, people's health and people's safety at the end of the day, it really matters, and everybody needs to take it seriously. Just because the government doesn't take it seriously, that does not mean we shouldn't take it seriously too. When we see something wrong, we're the one who has to point the finger and say this is not acceptable. We need to do, and that's what Nashi did. He didn't like what Jason Kenney said on Tuesday, so right away yesterday he called a local state of emergency. The same thing with the Banff mayor. He didn't like it either. He had to call the state of emergency immediately. So these are the kind of things that we need to make sure that we take care of as much as we can. Because if we don't take our health seriously, at the end of the day, who else will take their health seriously? That's something that's very important that we need to understand and take it and not joke around with it in any way as much as we can, because health and safety of the people is really important. It doesn't matter uh, what we do at the end of the day, we need to know our priorities at the end of the day. And a lot of people do not know their priorities. And it's very sad when you see those kind of people that don't know responsibility from wrong, from right. There's a lot of people don't know responsibility here. We need to know our responsibility. People need to wake up and realize how important this is, how important my health is. Because if you're putting everything first before your health, then that's sad for you. Then you're not gonna go anywhere because of this. So that's something I want you guys to think about, right? And yes, our world looks really bad now in every way. We don't have money, we don't have budget, we don't have economy, we don't have anything. And this guy cares about his businesses and all. Like, when people, when they care about the businesses, when they have a good economy, the country is good, the province is good, you have enough money. But this pandemic already ruined our economy. Now on top of it, he cares more about his businesses and his industries. That's not, even if he does that, that's not gonna solve, that's not gonna make his businesses better or do anything, because we're in a time of crisis. Your business are not gonna run well in a time of crisis. That's for sure. So might as well you care about the people's safety. I suggest then caring about your loved one, caring about your businesses and your money. Because even if you lose money, so what? You can gain money again, right? You can get more money, you can get more deficit, you can get more stuff. It's not end of the world for you to lose money, to lose businesses. It's not, and I don't even see the big problem. If I was rich and I had money, I won't care about my business, but my people's safety is more important, not money more important to me. And every day people are dying, and he's caring more about his money. That's really bad thing to do as a premier, and that's what he did. Doug Ford, we have him in Ontario too. He's another premier that we have, but he takes it way more seriously. He takes them way more seriously. Though he's rich, he has businesses, but right away he closed Toronto down. He closed York Region down. Right away he did that, and he did that last week. That's the difference, and he's the same as Jason Kenney. No difference. But see, that's one knows how much people's health is more important to them, and there's another person who doesn't know how much people's health is more important, because he knows that people's health is more important than people dying every day, than his business is running and losing money. So you have to know, like, even the rich people, some of them, they see what Jason Kenney's doing is bad. Not all of them agree with him, because they know these lives that are dying every day. They know how COVID is serious, and he made private healthcare, and our healthcare should be always public. Anybody who's sick can get it. Now, no way you can get healthcare. Only people who are rich and have money, they can afford it. And hardly people are rich. The people that are poor, the people that are middle class, those people can't afford it. Only the high class can afford it. So I'm saying the time of not league, we didn't have this issue, but the time Jason Kenney, we have this issue. So I'm saying in every way, he's doing damage, not just for himself, but he's doing damage for the province. The province is chaos now, because even if he's that bad, the time of COVID, this is the time we need to show the people how much you care with their health, how much you care about their safety. That's what matters. Not what matters is cutting healthcare, cutting not doing lockdown, making everyday people dying at thousands. He's like acting this is normal. Everybody dies a day. 1,000 die a day. Before we used to just talk about hundreds. Now we're talking about thousands, and so we can talk about millions. That's how much a country people die a day. And we're not even a country. Imagine if imagine people die a million a day, and we're a very low population. We're supposed to just have 100 maximum people dying, not 1,000. That's why Ontario and the rest of the provinces, they're shocked, because we have numbers that no other province has, and we are low population. It's not we are like very high population like Ontario and Quebec and those provinces that are. We are way low population than all these provinces, and that's the fact. So the premier needs to take it seriously. He needs to wake up and realize the future, because when it's too late, it's too late. When you can't fix something, you can't fix something. And now it's too late. Now if he doesn't do lockdown now, things are going to get way worse. It's very hard to solve the problem, because when you don't do, when things are really going bad and you don't deal with them right away and they get way worse, it's too late by that time to fix the problem. You need to deal with it right away when there's a problem, and he did not do that. So he failed badly in COVID, And especially when all the mayors, if all the mayors in this province they close because of him, then that means this premier, there's no responsibility he's taking as a premier. There's no even know what's the point even his rule for. Seriously, what's the point? Um, that's why already actually closed yesterday. He didn't wait. He didn't even give today, or he didn't say next week we're gonna close lock, we're gonna do local stay. He did right away because he knows if he doesn't close immediately, more people are gonna die. Every day matters. The more people die every day, the more it gets scarier. Because this is health and safety. That's why I'm closing my school tomorrow too. Nobody's allowed to come here and to come. Although my school was open, yes, but only open for certain people. Like I'm allowed maybe 5 people, 6 people. I'm gonna allow. Yes, you were allowed to come today, yesterday, the day before. You were allowed, but now it's gonna be full shutdown because your health and safety is way more important. And we're gonna be going until February, even maybe until March, because I don't think the numbers of Alberta is gonna go any better. Now I can do the math here, and it's not gonna get any better because it's very late. And then on top of it, our premier, you saw him, he didn't even close the areas that are really high risky, like bars and casinos and theater and museums and libraries. A lot of people are gonna go there too now. So I'm just saying, if you don't close, especially it's holiday now, a lot of people are gonna gather together. They're gonna go to bars. They're gonna go. It's holiday. People are gonna go anywhere. You can't stop people to go to bars or go to museums or go to libraries. You can't do that, but he did that. So I'm saying schools is not going to do anything by itself, because the more you close, the more the numbers are going to go down. If you just close one area and you leave other areas open, still there's high risk people are going to go COVID, because all these numbers that we're getting is not all from schools. A little bit are from schools, a little bit from casinos, a little bit, majority actually are from bars and all these gathering stuff. Majority of those kids, and he didn't close those. So that's why it's really bad when you see a government like that not taking any responsibility, not addressing, not confronting people. He's gonna lose in every way. Doctors are mad at him, teachers are mad at him, everybody's mad at him. So I'm just saying this government is sinking down every single day. So I'm just saying that's why I'm taking a step early before the government does it, because the government announced it next week. Some schools are just gonna follow what the government said next week. I'm gonna take my school. I'm gonna take a step further and make sure that I close it tomorrow. So today, if you need to come, you come. Hopefully by 5. If you can't make it by 5 o'clock today, then I will maybe deliver the computer for you tomorrow or something. And then tomorrow you don't come here at all until February or March. When things get better again, we can slowly open things slowly. We're not gonna open at one time, so I'm gonna allow 5 students to come. Maybe the first month I'm gonna allow maybe 5 students. That's the plan after COVID. How we gonna fix everything back the way it is and go back to normal life. We have to, even when we have a lockdown, everything starts opening soon when the COVID leaves. So the same thing. I'm not gonna, now I close everything. I'm not gonna open everything. Everything is gonna slowly open. So I'm gonna allow 5 students, maybe 3 students, 4 students. Then when the less the numbers get more, then I'm gonna allow more students, maybe 10. Then until we have actual number. Hopefully by the summer COVID leaves. I'm hoping yes the COVID leaves, because it is we want to go back to normal life and we want to enjoy the life the way it was before, right? But for that to happen, like I said, we're very far away before the vaccine to come, but we can't wait till the vaccine to come, right? So until the vaccine to come, we need to do our best by protecting ourselves and making sure that we care about our loved ones. Because every day people dying, more loved ones are dying. And that's the fact, and we can see it every single day. Every day people dying, more loved ones are dying. You know how sad every day if you lose a family member, or if you lose a son or a daughter, or you lose anybody, is sad. Like I never did, but the people that feel that way, and I feel sorry for those people. But see, that's what the government did. The government takes it. So this is a joke. People don't take it as a joke. That's the difference. People take it serious. Like that can happen to you. What you gonna do if our premier lost a family member? She's gonna wait. I don't even think he's gonna wake up because of it. If he didn't wake up, he got COVID. You think he's gonna wake up if he loses a family member? He's not gonna take it seriously. Because people that are just rich, they have money, and all they care about is their money at the end of the day, and they care about their belongings, and they care about their stuff at the end of the day. That's what matters at the end. That's what makes them live today. They're not thankful. So if you're thankful they have money, you will use it for good purposes. If you had rich, that money should be used to create more jobs, to create more healthcare, to create more, make the province well. That's the money you need to use. But if you're using it for bad purpose, what you are appreciating for, to have money to use it for your businesses and your industries, and you being selfish about it and showing off and making everything private, so people who are poor and the middle class can't afford going to doctors, they can't afford to go healthcare. It's crazy now, bro. We shouldn't even talk about the America. If Canada itself, we have issues here. Alberta already, we have a premier that doesn't listen and does cuts. The same as US. What is the difference between when we had Donald Trump and we had Jason Kenney? We had the same amount and the same problems and the same issues than what Jason Kenney is doing. So it does not make any difference between having Jason Kenney and uh, having that. So I'm just saying we shouldn't talk about America here. Although yes, now America they have Joe Biden, they have at least their country is gonna go well. But our problem is we have 2 years of this failure government, and we don't know in the next 2 years what damage they need to do. Already when he came the first year or the year before, last year he really did cuts in education. This year is cuts on doctors, and then now the COVID he doesn't want to take it any seriously. And he really said from the beginning he didn't want to do a lockdown. He didn't want. He said Alberta will never go back to a full lockdown. So no matter what, he won't. And you know what? He can say all he wants, but he knows that there's mayors that are strong enough and they can close the whole city. You don't have no power even if you don't want to shut. There's other, like even now the Calgary mayor, he was forced to shut the whole county. He's saying I didn't want to do this, but he had to because this guy doesn't want to listen. They gave him chance. He didn't say anything because schools is not good enough. And the reason he closed schools because maybe he realized schools is not going to affect his businesses, so he said, okay, we're going to close schools. But bars and all that, maybe he makes money out of those. Maybe he has businesses that work there. I don't know. Rich people that have businesses everywhere, and they're worried about their business. But the reason he did that because he doesn't care. People they die, get sick. Who cares? But what I care more is my business that I care more about it. That's what he sees as more important. That's why he's here every day. So health and safety people is more important for him. For him, he doesn't see health and safety people as that important. And you can see other premiers across the provinces in Ontario, in Quebec, in BC, especially BC is the best government they have because that government takes everything seriously. They did a lockdown second time. All the other provinces did a lockdown second time because they realize how important it is. They know people's health and safety how important it is. Except our government here doesn't know that. Federal government too, they're willing to go lockdown they want, but they're not going to do that because the already prime minister said this is only for the premiers to decide they want to go lockdown. But it's only our premier that's here is not taking any right decisions, although other premiers are. So this is the difference, you know. Yeah, the Conservatives, for them to win federally or to win provincially, they lost because of this premier. This premier, he damaged them federally, the Conservatives, and he damaged his own party, and he also damaged people, so people don't elect him at all. Even in Alberta, people are not going to elect him anymore. Because Alberta is going really down now. We see it. Like there's not one thing good he did. The only thing we can say, yes, he closed the schools. That's it. But everything else he left open. He didn't. He left the bars open. He left everything open. We are in bad debt now. So school he just did it because I think he didn't affect his business at school, right? So he didn't care. So and the schools they're gonna lose money too now because when they're off and they're not making money. The receptionists and all these people they're not gonna make money. So it's bad actually for the receptionists, not for the teachers, but they're certainly because they work there the whole time in school. They're not gonna be able to work all next week. It's done. So I'm just saying but it won't affect teachers. My teachers still they teach online, still gonna make money. It's not gonna be a problem. But I'm just saying it's gonna affect other than that. So I'm saying at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, he didn't do much accomplishment. In 3 weeks, I don't think he's gonna go lockdown. Though he said he's gonna do new restrictions. But the restrictions are not gonna be good. You might say we're gonna maybe close more recreation centers, more parks. I think those are the kind of restrictions he's gonna bring in 3 weeks. It's not gonna be a serious restriction because he doesn't want to close. Other than important businesses like bars and all that, he's not gonna close bars because bars he's gonna make money out of, and he needs that business to be run. So he's not gonna close it because always, even if businesses, you want them to be running, they will run after the COVID. Trust me, the economy is gonna go back the way it is. Even if you're losing businesses, people are gonna, even rich people can gain businesses again. It's not a problem. When the time that we have a bad economy and the COVID made our economy bad, don't worry about uh, your business is gonna fail or going bad on. It's not gonna do anything. He doesn't even have money for pipeline. He doesn't have money for. I don't know how he's gonna make his business stronger. People dying every day for him is normal, but I don't know. It's just this government is going too much, too stretchy, and it's not making sense. And I'm happy that uh, these mayors they stepped up and they did the right thing because we shouldn't just sit there and watch this. When we see something wrong, we need to know that people's lives every day matters, right? We're not gonna make the city open the more days because who knows if if the city is open and bars are open, everything open, those numbers are not gonna go down. There's not gonna be any improvement by the time January comes. I'm telling you. And the premier knows himself. He knows if he leaves school closed, he knows there's not gonna be much improvement. He knows he has to do other research. He knows that because school itself is not gonna make all these numbers go down. It's not. Majority of those numbers are from hospitals. Hospitals are still open. Majority of those numbers are from bars and casinos and all these. That's what it is. As long as people are gathering, doesn't matter if school is not a problem. School is just kids going to school. That's just affecting the kids. But the grown-ups is way more. The grown-ups are the more they get the COVID and they have to isolate. Those are the more. It's not this. School is just maybe quarter of it or even half of it. But the majority of it is from the other stuff. So that's why I'm saying the restriction is not strong enough. Everybody can see this government didn't do enough restriction. It just affected the students, that's it, and the teachers. But it didn't affect anybody else, did it? No. People can gather anywhere. Even if people don't gather at home, they're gonna be gathering. Um, and the reason he said people cannot gather at home because he didn't want to say people can gather in bars or stuff because he wants those businesses to be open. So that's why now it makes sense to me why he said people need to gather at home because he knows people gathering that's not business, that's your home. It's not gonna affect me anyway. That's how he sees it, this premier. I know I'm not stupid, right? I know what he's thinking because he when he gives news survey, he knew what he's gonna say. He knew what he's gonna close and why he's not gonna close. He knew already. But the stuff he closed, we know that's it's not gonna make the numbers go down just because you're gonna gather at home, even if people see you at home. But if you're gonna go to bars, you're gonna go to casinos and libraries and all these areas, you're gonna go. That's not gonna solve the problem. So people are just gonna leave their home. They're gonna say, let's meet in casino, let's meet in libraries, um, let's meet uh, in the theater, let's meet in the museum. They go there, they gather, and they get COVID. It's easy. No, it's not a problem. People just can leave their home and they can say, oh, he made it easy for me. I'm just gonna have to leave the home and go there. They didn't solve the problem at the end of the day. Even if the government comes to home and you say, maybe people, yes, might not bring people at home anymore because that's not allowed. But if you go anywhere else, you're allowed. And trust me, when January comes, that's not gonna solve the problem because the government knows that the government is not that stupid. They know what will happen after 3 weeks. They know that's why they're the government. They know after 3 weeks what we maybe will not know, all of us. Even I know, although I'm not the government. I know in 3 weeks that's not gonna solve the problem because all these schools they closed fully. Even the worship places they didn't close it fully. Still people are allowed to go worship places, but it's limited. 1/3. That means 1/4 of it. That's it. Few people can go, but still, as long as things are open, even if you close a little bit of it, is not that much. If it's half closed, half open, how good is that? You want it to be full closed. And that's why Calgary did that. They went full lockdown because the mayor didn't like it. He was shocked, actually. He said he was shocked more about the casinos being open and the bars being open because that disturbed him. He's saying it because everybody's thinking about this. It doesn't make sense. You're gonna make people gather at home, but you're gonna say yes to bars and yes to casinos, right? Enough anyways about this. We talked about it yesterday, we talked about it today. But again, doesn't matter what the government does, it's very important we protect ourselves. And like I said, make sure that you do my homework tonight and we get it done today by 4:30 p.m. And starting next Tuesday, we're gonna be having our unit exam for module one, module two. So make sure over the long weekend that you have, because we have we have Saturday, we have Sunday, we have Monday, we have 3 day long weekend. You have to make sure that you put the time and study. There's no another time to this. You have to make sure you put the time and you study in the weekend. You have a long week. I have a unit exam too on Tuesday, and I have to make the time in the weekend to study. So you guys also make sure that you put the time in the weekend, that long weekend, and make sure you study all the words and making sure that you understand and take it all seriously in every way. That's what your goal is, right? And tomorrow is just going to be a review day, so we're just going to be reviewing the whole first unit and second unit quickly. And in the weekend you review, and then when we come back after the PD day, because PD day I have a meeting too, I have to be there to to prepare for the online, because we have to maybe clean the school and making sure that it's closed, because it will be closed tomorrow. But tomorrow teachers are allowed to come to the school and visit it, but students are not, right? Students are not allowed to come to the school. So that's what I'm saying. If you're gonna come and pick up a computer or a laptop, you just have today to do it at 5 o'clock. Starting by 6, it's gonna close and it's not gonna open until February. It all depends. If we get a vaccine by January in Alberta, and I highly doubt that will happen. If it does, then we will open school. But if it's not safe, and our numbers super duper high by that time and vaccine comes, no, we're not going to open it, because for me to open it, I have to have at least 10 cases in Alberta, 10 cases in Edmonton, or 5 cases in Edmonton, then it's safe, because I know that's with that much we have, then schools. But if I'm going to open it, I'm going to open maybe like 5 people can come, and maybe it's just gonna be weekends. So well, this is the plan, and I will lay out more of the plan when we get to when our numbers get less. But now our numbers are high. Even there's no even point talking about this, because we will all forget about this. And I'm just, but this is my plan. When COVID leaves and we have, let's say, 5 cases or 6 cases, when the vaccine comes, then we are just going to allow weekends only to be open. So school is going to be only open on Saturdays and Sundays only. But weekdays is going to be closed. And when we have 0 cases, then everything is going to go back the way it is. We're going to maybe allow 20 students, 30 students, the amount that we usually have. But that will happen maybe by, let's say, I'm predicting maybe by late May, or by maybe by June. I'm hoping by that time we might open the school fully, maybe by June, maybe the last month before the summer. So we might open it by that time. The summer it will be closed, but hopefully by next September we will have normal classes. Everything's gonna be, we might not be even be online anymore, right? It won't be online, but I'll still make videos, but it won't be online, so I don't have to talk to you online. So we're just gonna be normal classes, and we're just gonna do things normally the way it is. Hopefully by next September, who knows, by next September, if we still have COVID, I can guess now by next year September, we don't might not have COVID, but my projection is by the time we open fully, it will be either by April or by May. I'm hoping that's when I'm actually gonna open the whole school and maybe open it fully. By June, I'm sorry, by June I'm opening fully. By June, the last month before school. I know there's no point of that. It might as well be online if you want. You have choice, because still it's part of the school year, so that'll be the last quarter of maybe the last month. Maybe, yeah, by the last quarter, by last month, I'm hoping by then the COVID cases should be getting way better. We have the vaccine, everything is well done and good. So hopefully by June, I'm hoping to open it again. But all we will see. All depends if the COVID continues until June, and all depends if we get the vaccine early. Hopefully that really answers your question as much as you can. Okay. I hope everybody have a great day, and see you on Friday.